Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Today we are going on with part 2 of our seed starting series. And for today we're going to talk about doing some tomatillos and an eggplant. But before we do that, we need to check what we planted last time. If you remember, in the last video we planted some peppers. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to go and I'll show you what has happened in 8 days. This is the 8th day. I did it on a Tuesday and today is the following Wednesday. So let's take a look. So here is that flat of peppers, and there's really not much to speak of at the moment, but if you look a little closer and you find this little seed right here, just off to one side, I'll see a little bit of a root coming out. They always send out the roots first and they go down into the soil and then they push up the leaves and the foliar growth. So that's how it happens. We know that they are starting to grow. Peppers will typically take up to maybe 2 weeks to maybe even 3 weeks to germinate. They just take a little bit of time, so that's why I always start them first of all the summer vegetables that I do. Today, of course, we're going to do tomatillos. They're very similar to peppers and tomatoes in their planting techniques, and in fact they're in the same family, so it would make sense. But what we're going to do next is do the tomatillos. We're going to cover this back up and we'll add the tomatillos to the other side of this flat to grow all together on heat mats in a garage. So here are the tomatillos that we're planting today. This one is just Verde. These are Baker Creek heirloom seeds. No affiliate links or anything like that. They're just a good seed company. I like the varieties they've got. Another one, and these are fresh this year, Rio Grande Verde. And if you check out the back, it tells you it's 3 to 4 ounce type fruits, pretty good size. They tell you to start 6 to 10 weeks before the last frost. Always check your seed packets, get the instructions off of that. Let's check this one out real quick. And it's pretty much the exact same thing. That makes sense because they're tomatillos. The one that I have grown in the past that I really enjoy is this one, which has some really, really huge size fruits. The San Juanito. I hope I'm saying that right. Please don't kill me if I butchered it. But right here, it says 80 days to production. Large green fruits ripen eventually to cream at 3 ounces. And what we did with these is we made a really nice pico de gallo for whatever kind of Tex-Mex type stuff we were cooking. And it was just really tasty, had a little tartness to it that was perfect. So we've got those. And I like eggplant in quantities that are just enough for like an eggplant parmesan. But I've always found that eggplant is very difficult to grow because of flea beetles. Now you can grow things like catnip near them that is said to deter it. You can spray it with like a catnip foliar spray where you kind of soak catnip leaves and then spray the leaves of the eggplant. And that may help some, but I found that the flea beetles are really attracted to eggplant for some reason. So in that case, it might actually be a good plant to plant as a trap crop. And so a trap crop is one of those where you put in the garden to encourage those pest insects to go to it rather than go on the stuff that you really care for. But anyway, we'll try planting a couple of these. I've never really gotten eggplant to thrive in my garden, but who knows? Maybe this will be the year. Now, just like I did for the peppers last week, I'm going to use the same type of pots to place in there. These are made from coconut husks that have been reconstituted into these little 8-cell flats. And I'm going to be using these little strips here for labels, which are just basically mini blinds that have been cut up into small little pieces that will fit underneath my clear plastic dome right over there where the peppers are currently growing. So again, for my medium here for the seeds, we're just using a regular old potting mix. Nothing fancy, but just something that provide the seeds a good place to germinate. You can get a seed starter mix if you want to. They didn't have any available at the store when I was there, so I ended up with something different. But this will work just fine. So here's what the tomatillo seeds look like. You can see they're pretty small. They're a little bit smaller than the pepper seeds are. But they look very similar to what a pepper seed looks like. And we're going to take about 3 of each of those and put them into each of these little cells in this flat. I'll probably, this first one here is the San Juanito varieties. So I'm probably going to try to do more of those because I know what those are like and I know I'm going to enjoy them. So I'll probably do 4 cells of that. And then I'll divide up these other 4 cells here and do about 3 plants in each one or 3 seeds in each one for the other types of seeds there. So now I've put about 3 to 4 little seeds in here, and I'm just going to kind of very lightly move around the soil to cover them. You can come back if you want to and just spread a little light layer of soil on top, but this will work too. And then once we have all the seeds in here that we're going to do, we will put in some water and we'll lightly water over top of the whole thing. And so here are the Black Beauty eggplant seeds. You can see they're pretty much about the same size as a pepper seed is, and we're going to do them in this last flat here. It's always good to plant extra seeds over what you think you're going to need, just in case you have some that don't work out. Not all these seeds are going to be viable. A lot of them will be, but there could be some that are duds, and you want to make sure you get something out of them. So here I'm just going to go around. I've got the tomatillo seeds already in here, and we're just going to lightly spread them over. They will do great. So looking forward to seeing how they turn out. And if they're just barely covered, that is just right. Don't need much covering on top of them. See, I'm just scraping from the edges and giving them a very light layer. So next, we water them, and then we'll put them in the flat right over here. We've got them labeled. So I've got 4 of the San Juanitos, and then I've got 2 cells here with the Tomatillo Verde, and then 1 with the Tomatillo Verde Rio Grande, and 1 with the Black Beauty eggplant. And so that's what we'll do for those. So we're going to add those seeds here to this flat, mix it all together, but we have them all nicely labeled so we don't get confused. I promise if you ever think you're going to remember something, you won't. You will eventually forget it, and then you'll wish you had labeled it. I've done that so many times. But right here we've got our tomatillos, and here we've got our peppers. So that's what we've got next. We will get some water on these. So here we'll give them a little bit of water. Let it soak down in, and we'll refresh the water on the other part. They will have plenty of water in there because we're going to have the humidity controlled with this little clear dome. And these 1020 flats do a good job of retaining the water in there, but also creating drainage. So this top flat has holes in it, the bottom flat does not have holes in it, and it just works really well with seed starting. As soon as we've got good germination, we're going to need to take the clear lid completely off and just let them grow. Otherwise they'll get too much humidity and that'll introduce fungal things. So we don't want fungal things. So that's part 2 of our seed starting series. In the description, I'm going to leave a link for another series that I wrote on the webpage. It's called Seed Sowing 101. I know, real original title right there, but it's got a lot of good information in there about seed starting. So if you want to move ahead and kind of look at other things, start there. Just click on the link there in the description. That'll take you right to my webpage. But next time we're going to get into tomatoes. That's one of my favorite things every year to do. We'll talk about some of the varieties of tomatoes, and we'll start planting them, and hopefully we'll see a little bit more progress on the peppers and maybe even the tomatillos. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Growing the Home Garden.